What's good, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in. There we go. Carolann is here. I'll send you the invite and we'll get it started. What's good, everybody? Barry's here. He's excited. Ashley. All right, that camera button and then hit save.
Camera button. Why am I still hearing? I'm hearing Kings of eBay for some reason.
Okay, go ahead and X out. It's a TikTok glitch. So go ahead and X out and then just reset your app really quick and then come back in. There we go. TikTok glitch. That's okay. We don't have anybody here yet, so we're good. I'm moving. Do I end all my listings or to my store on vacation mode? Depends on how long your move is. If you're going to be gone for a while, I would say you can put a vacation mode up to a month. So put your store on vacation mode. Yeah, you could do time away too. You could technically do a vacation mode and still make sales, but if you're going to be gone for longer than a month, then do it time away. What's up, Peter? Doing pretty good. We're just waiting for Carolann to come back in. She's having some technical issues. She was listening to Kings in the background. There she is. I'm going to send her an invite. And we'll go ahead and get started. What's up, Teej? Teresa, what's up? Chris is in the house.
142 people on already.
142 people on already, yep.
Oh my God. Okay, now where's the camera that I have to hit?
I think it's a top right-hand corner. You should have like a settings button and then a camera button. And then you have to hit save after you turn your camera
on. Settings. Okay. Settings button. Oh, there it is. I see it.
And then just make sure you hit save.
Save.
There you go.
We are.
Beautiful. What's up? How are you doing? Oh, look at you. You got like a maid shirt. I should have. Well, I can send you one of my shirts if you need one.
I felt bad because I hadn't gotten a shirt yet.
So you just stuck my sticker on your chest. I like it. I like the.
I took it and I attached it to the shirt. Scoot in, honey.
Nice. Hey. What's up? How's everybody doing tonight?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. I appreciate you.
I wanted to introduce my better half.
Yep.
You know him, Wayne, but this is my husband, Dan, the other half of DEO Night Tax Service, DEO being his initials, Night being my maiden name, and we just always liked it, so it stuck. And you get me, you get him. We're a package deal. Oh, look. Does that mean they're sending me stuff? You're
getting gifts. If you guys appreciate Carolann and the advice that she gave, all you have to do is tap her screen and send her some gifts. I know you guys got plenty of gifts to spread around, so go ahead and tap her screen and send her gifts.
I saw a tiny and a cat paw.
See, she gets really excited for gifts, guys, so just keep sending it to her. She'll just smile the whole lot.
Thank you. I love it. Thank you.
So we have a decent amount of people in here. I was going to wait a minute or two, but it looks like we already have 172 people. So people were ready for this live. I guess we'll start it out by introduce yourself, introduce your husband, tell a little bit about what you guys do, and let's hear it.
Okay. We are Carolann and Dan Olson, and we own DEO Night Tax Service. Like I said, DEO is his initials. Night was my maiden name that I really liked, so I just kind of used it. Oh, look at it. You got a hat. That's awesome. Thank you, whoever's doing that. And we met doing taxes back in December of 2005 is when we actually met doing taxes, and we've been married coming up on 14 years. We've always done you got a hat. We've just always worked together. We liked it. You know, people were kind of surprised that a husband and wife could work together and not kill each other.
Yep. That's awesome.
Thank you. Who's sending that stuff. Thank you. Hi, Kat. Hi, David.
So you have some family members that are in the community too. Talk a little bit about that too.
Yes. Humphrey Treasure Trunk. That is our daughter, Ayla, and her husband, Bobby. So I know you hear Bobby on there a lot. And that's, again, daughter and son-in-law, and they are the ones who connected me to all of you. And through Bobby sharing his journey of what he's learned from all of you and who's helped him and how much you help him, and just share everything and don't expect something in return. It spoke to me, and so I started asking him if I thought y'all might need some help with knowing things for how to do your taxes better, how to make sure you're getting the best return on your taxes, one way or the other. And she said, "What was that?"
They're gifting me, and I'm almost at my gift goal. You're at 434 coins, by the way. So that's like, you basically made like $2 on this live so far. So this is like passive income at this point.
Well, thank you, but I did want to say right off the top, when we started talking about if they thought I could help you all with what I know and what you do. And so she started asking some of you that they, talk with, converse with regularly. You said yes. And so she got me to make a video introducing myself. And I was like really blown away by how nice everyone was, how you all accepted me and welcomed me. And so I'm hooked. You're stuck with me no matter.
Hey, we're happy to have you.
Hey,
Kind of like I am.
not funny.
So
don't laugh at him.
I actually I found Carolann. I think it was your first video. It was right before tax season. I was looking to use somebody else because you know the story. We don't have to go into that, but
Right.
I needed somebody else to look over my taxes, and I saw your post, and then I immediately messaged you and I said, "Hey, do you mind looking over my taxes for me and seeing if I can improve on them, if you can help me out with them?"
Sorry.
And then right after that, you hit me up. We had a couple great conversations, and Carolann is actually the lady that did my taxes this year. Obviously, her husband helped her out too, so they both worked on it together. But probably the best tax experience I've ever had. And I told her, obviously, working with me and having a little bit of a platform, I have no problem pushing you guys now and hopefully getting you guys more business because of the way you took care of me. So I definitely want to say I appreciate you guys. It was an awesome experience. I know there's plenty of people in the chat right now that have actually used Carolann as well and have nothing but good things to say about her. And taxes are something that's pretty scary for some people, especially those people moving from part-time to full-time like I did. There's a lot to learn, and I think it's a constant learning game. Every year you learn a little bit more, and Carolann was really great about teaching me. Hopefully these lives will be able to teach you guys a little bit. I get asked a bunch of tax questions, and I can't answer them because I'm not a tax professional. But now we have a couple professionals in the chat that you guys can actually ask these questions to. So again, I really appreciate you, Carolann, for everything you've done for me.
And Wayne, same thing right back to you. I've never come on one of your lives or chatted with you that you haven't been especially kind and especially great at just telling people, hey, she knows what she's doing, go talk to her. And I truly appreciate that. One thing I want to say before this gets too far is that my intention with this was to put some videos out there to help all of you. It was never an attempt to increase our business. I mean, that's not how this started, and that's not why I do what I do. We are especially willing to do that because for those of you that need people like us, that need someone to help you, of course, that's great. We love it. But I don't want people to think that that's our only intention. You know, we're here because we love what we do. We want to help you. You've helped our kids beyond belief. Bobby he is amazing. He's working hard and he's learned so much, and he loves sharing it with us. I love learning from him, but I know he learned it from all of you. So that was my intention when I started this, was to kind of give a little back for what you all have given our kids. So thank you for that. And if you need us to do your taxes, we're never going to say no, but don't feel like that's where this is coming from. All
Yep.
right.
Hey, what happens when you put good energy out is you get good energy back. So we definitely appreciate having you in the community. Great addition to, and everybody has tax questions, so it's great to have somebody that people can just run to and ask those questions.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Joel, I just saw Joel down here. He hit 1,000 today.
He
That's
did.
awesome.
He hit it on Cats Live. Congrats, Joel.
He
We'll have
did.
to we'll have to have Joel on one of these nights and talk to old Joel. Joel's been another great addition into the community. He's been amazing. He even made me a little K-Way Shop sticker right here.
wow.
So this was from Joel.
Wow.
So I appreciate you, Joel.
That's awesome.
All right, so I have a couple starter questions for you guys, and then we'll open it up to the chat. I figured I have pretty basic questions that I've been asked a lot on my lives, and I'll throw them at you. You guys feel free to answer them however you want. Don't feel like you need to, hit all bullet points. Just obviously we're going to do these lives a couple more times, so you'll probably think of other answers to go along with these questions too. And I even wrote them down. That's how professional I am on this.
Good job.
Here we go. First question. I get asked about write-offs all the time. So talk about a few common write-offs for resellers, things that we can write off on our taxes.
Okay. Of course, the space you use in your home for your business, that's a huge one. And there's a lot involved in that. So I did make a video about that. It's got some more detail to it, but your space in your home that is dedicated to your business is a big deduction for people who do what you do. So don't hit and miss with that. If you're not sure, if you've not done it before, ask us. Go ahead.
Just to give you a short answer to that, anything that you spend to generate income is a tax write-off. Anything.
There you go.
Anything. That's great. That's great. That's a
real short answer, but
right. I always say if it touches your business and write it down, keep track of it. There's one thing I heard a couple times lately about people who, I know that you guys thrift at yard sales, antique shops, things like that, and they're asking about writing off what they buy at a yard sale. Absolutely. If you're buying that to resell, however you're tracking your inventory, or I'm sorry, your supplies, keep track of it. One thing that I know for sure that if the IRS would ask you about it, they're going to say when and where. So on your spreadsheet, again, I always promote Jason Hayes' spreadsheet. It's amazing. I have a copy that he sent me. I've reviewed it in depth. Right. Keep on there what you bought, where, just even the name of the street. You don't have to have the people that live there.
And you don't need receipts because because your yard sales are cash sales.
Right.
But as long as you document.
Right. As long as you document it, you are good to go. Write down the date, where it was, what you spent. You're done. They don't have to give you a receipt. You just have to document it.
Talk a little bit about phone usage too, how you can write that off, because I know a lot of us use our phones pretty much all day, every day to do what we do. So talk a little bit about that too.
Yes. So I can't imagine that any of you have a phone separate, just a business phone as opposed to a personal phone. So what you do is you take the amount that you spend on your phone for the year, and then you give your best estimate of how much of your phone use is business and how much is personal. Say 50-50 or 80 business, 20 personal, 70-30, whatever that is. And then that, say 70% of your phone bill for the year, you're going to put on that Schedule C as a business deduction.
Good answer. Talk a little bit about not only supplies, because we all know, like, obviously our envelopes that we buy and our tape we buy are considered supplies, but talk about like computers. Can you write off computers if you use those for your business? If I go out and, I need a new computer because mine broke and I need it to use it for eBay and I primarily use it for eBay, can I write that off on my taxes at the end of the year?
Yes. Simple answer. It's part of your home office again. So
It's considered a capital improvement. So let's just say you spend $500 on a computer. And if it's 100% for business, we can write 100% off that year using the Section 179 rule. Or you can depreciate it over 3 years.
Yeah, you can spread it
depending
out.
on how you want to do that and how how you want your expense flow.
Right. You're depending on how well you did that year or not. You can decide, do I want to deduct the whole thing this year, or do I want to spread that deduction out, divide it by the years, and do a little bit each year.
And I'm a firm believer in writing it off as quickly as
We
possible.
usually just write it off the same year you bought it. Can you fix that chair?
Somebody, we have a couple good questions in the chat. I was going to wait till the end, but I'll grab a couple. I can go back to my sheet later. Somebody asked, what about a car? Can you potentially write that off? How does that work? And then somebody asked about utilities right after that. So I'll throw those both at you guys.
Okay. Now I did do a video about mileage. Now, if you have a car that is specifically 100% for business, which would be extremely rare, that's in a class by itself. Okay. But the car itself, most of the time, your mileage is much better. Go ahead.
Well, you can go either way with that. Let's just say you have a pickup truck and you use it 80% for the business, 20% for personal. You can write it off as a company asset. We can take depreciation on it and all your actual expenses. Okay. But if it's your SUV that your kids go to school in and everything else, then you're probably better off just going a mileage route.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I normally just go the mileage route. What about utilities? Obviously, like for example, I work in my house pretty much all day long. How do you go about writing off utilities such as electric, like water, all that good stuff?
Yes. So when you claim your business space of your home, which the IRS calls your home office space, you will measure the space in your home that you use strictly for business. I know, Wayne, you have a huge space in your garage, in your home, the whole thing. So I want the entire square footage of your home, and then they need to know how much of that is for business. So then you calculate what percentage that is. A lot of times it's 10, 12%, and then all of your expenses towards your home, you will use that same percentage. So all your utilities, your mortgage interest, your insurance,
your water and sewer,
trash, every utility you have. If you have natural gas,
any repairs to the house,
any expenses toward the entire home, you're going to use that same percentage. Now, if you remodel a space in your home for your business, say you paint it, you put up new shelves, you put carpeting, whatever it is, that specific space, that portion is going to be 100% deductible.
Yep. So I'm actually planning on possibly putting up drywall in the garage to insulate it because it's hot out there. I'm actually probably going to run an AC unit out there too. So that would be an example of something that I can 100% write off because I solely use my garage for my business.
And then whatever cost you have into getting that ducted into that space in the garage, or if you buy one of those portable air conditioners for that space, that's going to be 100% because that space is 100% for your business.
There you go. Kit Kat had a question. I know the answer to this, but I figured I'd throw it to you guys because this is another thing about mileage and gas. Can you write off gas or can you just write off mileage? Are you supposed to keep your receipts for gas and write off mileage, or is it one or the other?
It's one or the other, but just know that when they calculate mileage, like right now, that is 62.5 cents per mile because they want that to cover all of your expenses for your vehicle while you're using it. So it's not just for gas, it's for maintenance, it's for the fuel, the insurance, everything. And that's why it's so high. Some people think that they're really getting, screwed because they do that instead of actual expenses. But when you take that and spread it out over the years, I mean, you need to get a new car if you're going to spend more than what they're giving you on that vehicle. I'm just
Right.
saying.
So like she said, you can't take both. You can't just write off
Right.
any year your mileage and then hold all your receipts.
You can't flip flop from year to year.
Right.
Yeah, you
Once you
can't.
choose, you have
Yeah.
to stay there.
Yeah. Like she said,
but-
mileage is the best way to go. I use an app called MileIQ. If you guys aren't using it, there's a plenty of apps
Right.
out there that will follow
Those
you in the
mileage
background.
apps are great. They're
Yeah.
great because you can tell it if it's business or personal. And then at the end of the year, you have exactly what your tax person needs for your taxes, because they like to see how much you drove the car overall, as well as how much you drove personal and business. It doesn't change the outcome, but they really like it because that just shows that you've done your due diligence and keeping track of it.
Talk about this too, because this is something I think I've mentioned to you before. Talk about an electric car. Are you allowed to write off mileage for an electric car?
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So
Absolutely.
There's no differentiation.
Mileage is mileage because you
Yes.
have those same other expenses for an electric car.
Because
yes,
you're gonna spend electricity to charge it. You're gonna have tires. You're gonna have most of the things that a
insurance,
gas car
maintenance, everything. You're paying electric instead of gasoline. So
has.
what?
There's no differentiation.
It's still mileage.
But that's why I've actually considered getting an electric car, because it actually will pay you to have the electric car in most cases, because you're getting the same thing the gas people get, but obviously you're not paying for gas prices. The price of electric is so much cheaper.
There is no question in the tax form that says is it gas or electric.
They don't care. They really don't care. I'm sad that I can't see the messages because I'm used to being on a live and I go in and I follow all the messages. So forgive me if I'm not seeing.
We have so many questions right now, we can't even keep up with them. We're gonna have Carolann on a couple more times, so if we miss your question, feel free to come back on. She also is normally in my lives at night, so she'll tag you and she'll answer your question normally in the chat.
I always try to answer them, and you can message me on there. If you'll go look at the comments on my videos, I've put my phone number out there over and over again. Send me a text message, and then I can either answer you there or set up a time that we can have a phone. I'm not going to ignore you, I promise. I have a question. Ayla's over here trying to help me keep up as well. She sent me a message.
Gotcha.
What if you rent instead of own your home? So what you would do is, hopefully you have renter's insurance, and then whatever you're paying in rent every month, they're going to use that same percentage of that rent amount for a deduction. Where I was saying you take the square footage of your business space compared to the total, like that 8, 9, 10, 11% of your house, they'll use that much of your rent every month as a deduction as well. One thing I don't want to forget to mention is there is an option of doing what they call, it's kind of the easy route. If you don't want to calculate all those utilities and things, they'll give you $5 per square foot as a deduction. So it's up to you. I usually find that if you give me all those expenses and we calculate that percentage, it's usually a little better. But
no, there's one difference in there. Okay, if you do that, then you don't depreciate your house. But
you don't depreciate your house.
When you're taking home office, you have to depreciate a portion of your house.
Right.
And when you sell that house, you have to reclaim that.
Yes.
A lot of people don't understand that, but any depreciation you take, when you sell something, you have to reclaim the depreciation against the sale.
Right. So you do take a bit of a hit.
But it's not
Later. But
it's a requirement.
I mean, it's just, it's
a requirement. You can't not do it.
You can't not do it. Yeah. So, you get a little better every time, but hopefully when you switch houses or whatever you're doing, one kind of picks up where the other left off to kind of help compensate for that. So.
Gotcha. I got another question for you guys. What are some common tax mistakes you see? Obviously, you've done quite a few resellers taxes at this point. What are some common mistakes you see when it comes to doing those taxes that people can learn from?
One thing that I put in that video that just posted today is people don't realize that when you pay sales tax on something, you claim the sales tax, not just the sticker price. All right. So the total cost, which includes whatever tax you've paid, is your expense. I find a lot of people who go down the receipt, they write the sticker price and they just ignore that. Well, especially for what y'all do, you're paying sales tax on, 90% of what you have. So don't short yourself by not including that when you expense it. Wow, home office was always a big one.
Home office is a big one.
Yeah, a lot of self-employed people they're like, oh, I don't, that's probably not enough. Well, when we show them what they can get with it, they figure out it's important.
That and all your trips to the thrift stores and
The
everything
mileage
else,
is a
off.
huge one. Mileage is huge. People don't track their mileage. So, like I was trying to say in that mileage video, don't feel bad if you didn't write down those odometer readings before and after. Who cares? You've got a receipt for where you went. You can do Google Maps. Make sure it's round trip. Make sure you figure it round trip. And gee, you went to red, white, and blue how many times this year? Over 100 times probably by the end of the year. Well, if you go twice a week, there's 52 weeks, right? I went there 110 times in the year. I Google mapped it, and now I have this. So you keep your receipts in a box.
But your best advice is to keep a log.
Keeping a log is always best.
Because if you ever get audited, that's the first thing that the IRS auditor is going to ask you for. Where's your mileage log?
Right, and the mileage apps is a very acceptable mileage log to the IRS. They love that. They love calendars. You have a calendar of what your schedule is for the week. It's in your phone. It's on the wall. It doesn't matter. They love calendars. Write everything on a calendar that you did today.
Yep. The great thing about MileIQ is the app I use is you can literally see, it gives you a map and it gives you the spots where you drove and then where you drove back from. Yep. So if I ever got audited, I could just download those and then show it to them. I can download each and every one every single time I got into my car for the entire year. So I never have to log any of that stuff you guys are talking about because I can literally just be like, here you go. But it tracks everything in the background for me.
That's the best thing.
Yes, MileIQ is one of the favorite ones. Definitely. I see that a lot as being recommended for self-employed people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let's go back to the sheet.
Yes. Don't forget, when you buy when you're paying for that app, that expense is deductible. Jill, very good. I'm glad I see that you put that in there. Definitely. Whatever you pay for the apps or tracking or whatever you're doing, that expense is also a deduction.
Yep. So if you guys use Autopose, like I've been promoting, you guys can write that off at the end of the year because you use that for your business.
Absolutely.
If you use List Perfectly, you can use that. When you buy Jason Hayes' spreadsheet to literally track all your information, you can then write off his spreadsheet at the end of the year too.
If you use a credit card and you have to pay interest on that credit card, that interest is deductible for the business.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
So there's so many little things that.
Yep. I forgot about that one. Yes, if you use a credit card to buy your items, whatever interest you're paying on that credit card is an expense against your business. So
here's a really good question. This is a pretty deep one because I don't know if a lot of people know about this specific way to log your inventory. So can you tell the difference between accrual and cash accounting?
Yes. That's the video I just posted today, actually. So accrual is where you keep track of what you paid for an item, but you don't expense it until you sell it. That's the accrual method. You accrue that expense until you sell it, and then you account for it on your taxes. The cash method is where you expense it in the year that you paid for it. So Now, the IRS gives you the option to choose. Unless
They do, yeah.
unless in the last 3 years you've sold an average of 26 million, you're not required to do the accrual method.
Damn it. I knew that was going to
You're
happen.
almost there. You are almost there, Wayne. I know you are. Next year, maybe next year you can start that. But because of that, and again, that's for a reason. Expense it when you buy it. I did put some things in there. You know, I said, if you've been a collector for the last 10 years and you have a room full of stuff and you decide I'm going to sell that in my reseller business, well, you didn't buy it in the year just now when you started your business. So that's kind of an accrual method, but it doesn't mean you have to continue that. I mean, you know, you can expense that. Well, happening is you can sell it yourself on paper and expense it right then.
That's what most people do.
That's what a lot of
Let's
people
just
do.
say you had $4,000 worth of stuff. You know, like you collected video games, and you decide you're going to sell them all. Well, you can kind of calculate what the value was that you paid for them, and sell it to yourself, kind of. You know, without
on paper, which is legitimate.
Yeah, and you know, as long as you document it, it's legit.
Yes. So, you know, you have options, and that's why I said if you're not sure, that's what we're
I mean,
here
that's
for.
just like if you're starting up a business, you're just starting up, and you have your computer, you have your printer, you have all this stuff. You can kind of sell that to the business
in the year you start your business.
at a reasonable price,
Right.
and write it off against the business.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I got another question. I know the answer to this one, but something that it's been asked in my chat, and you kind of answered this. Obviously, I wear the Coogee sweaters. It's part of my brand. Can I write those off? And what if I wanted to write those off? What would I have to do to write those off?
Okay, I'm going to answer this if you don't mind.
Well, let me use. These are his sweaters that he collects.
I understand that.
And they know him by that.
Here's the rule on uniforms. It has to be something that you wouldn't wear to the mall on Saturday, or you wouldn't wear it to dinner tonight if you weren't on business, okay? So in other words, it has to be something that has your logo on it, something that represents your business. But just because you like that particular brand, I like Reebok, okay?
Double-sided tape works really well, and you don't have to peel the thing off the back.
Right.
Just saying.
But if you have your
His
company
logo.
name done.
All day long.
Yep, that's what I was getting at. I got the answer to that question a long time ago because I asked that before. But yeah, so if I got like patches made of my logo and then I stitched them onto all the Coogee sweaters, at that point in time, they would be able to be written off.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Plus the cost of making the patches.
Absolutely.
There you go.
If you didn't design them yourself, if you paid someone to design them, you pay that person, you pay them to create them, and then on your sweaters they go. But don't ruin your sweaters.
No, I'm not going to ruin them. I would list those actually to get them written off. What I would do is I would just list them by the end of the year, and they would be technically for sale. But I price them really high, so they'll eventually sell at that price. But I'll just list them really high.
Well, you can, if you have embroidered patches made, you can attach them in a way that won't hurt either one.
There you go.
Don't ask me how I know that.
Okay, here's another good question that I get asked all the time. What is an LLC, and at what point would you suggest that somebody doing this would get an LLC?
Oh no, here we go.
You mind if I answer this?
Well,
go ahead.
I'm going to start, and he's going to go. Okay, an LLC is what they call a limited liability corporation, and what that does is it protects your personal assets from a lawsuit. If somebody gets really ticked off at you, see how I cleaned that up? Mm-hmm. Really ticked off at you. And
I got this live set to 18 plus, by the way, so feel free to say whatever you want.
If they get really pissed off and they decide to sue you, they can only attack your business assets. They can't go after your personal assets. So
unless it's negligence on your part.
Okay, whatever.
Well,
right, negligence on your part. So an LLC is is okay. Costs you a lot of money, gives you an EIN, you're good. It's kind of a cool thing to have if you have a business.
And the IRS doesn't recognize LLCs.
The IRS couldn't care less if you're an LLC or not.
And you might think I'm wrong about that, but the IRS considers an LLC as a sole proprietor business.
That's it.
It's not a corporation. It's not.
No, it's not a corporation.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Now, as far as becoming a corporation, an S corp,
I don't know if you want that answered today or not. I mean, well, I'm just saying, a lot of you all,
we've done a lot.
Most of you all are
about
probably LLCs or just sole proprietors, and some of you are thinking about going to S corps. S corps are great if you have a storefront. The problem with an S corp is you cannot write off your home office space
if you work from home,
unless you also, on the flip side of it, take income from it. In other words, if you're a Schedule C and you wrote off $5,000 for home office expense, they would expect you to claim income equivalent or larger than that. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're an S corp, then the S corp files a separate return. Okay, and they can write that all off.
it's
But
complicated.
there again, if you're using office space and they write that off, they have to give you a 1099 miscellaneous if it's more than $600. That means then you have to on your personal. So in other words, I guess the short term, and we want to address this whole thing in a video next week.
We're going to work on a video about the S
because-
corp specifically because we've been discussing it a lot the last few days and how it applies to you and can or cannot help you.
But for most of you, I'm a proponent of S corps, but from what I understand, most of you all work out of your homes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're working out of your homes, it's hard to offset the difference of if you have an S corp, Wayne, in your case, let's just say you made $50,000. I don't know any numbers. Let's just say you made $50,000. They would expect you to pay yourself at least $25,000. Okay, which you would have to pay Social Security and FIC, and everything on it. But the other 50%, you could write off as capital, or as ordinary income. But you would lose all of your home office expense, which in your case I think would be pretty big. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
So we got a little deeper in this than we wanted to, and it all started because of the Augusta rule.
Yep.
I don't know whether you want to address that tonight or not.
Oh no, it's not him. That was Jason with Berry Treasure. And Berry Treasure, oh my gosh. Talk about pass-through LLC versus putting it under an S corp. That's a video that's coming.
Yes, we will.
Beyond what he just said, not for right now.
We'll do a video on that.
Okay. I have to laugh. It's like having dinner with my parents. What the heck?
Well, are your parents buying your products?
Or no. I think she's saying we're old, honey.
Oh.
So at what point would you suggest a reseller like myself get an LLC?
When you have a storefront.
No, an LLC.
Oh, an LLC.
Go ahead.
Yeah, an LLC.
And I would suggest you do it fairly soon because you're always dealing with the liability factor.
And you
sold a product and you sold me something and my daughter swallowed it and died. I'm going to sue your ass till hell comes home. Sorry. He said
you're good. It's 18 plus. You're good.
Plus. But
Let's
that's the
just
truth
say
of the matter.
we took a few shots before we came on.
So
no, you're good.
The most I can take from you is what you have in assets in the LLC.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take your home. I can't take your unless I could prove that you were totally negligent in selling me that thing. So I think LLCs are a good thing for most people.
Right. Most of you that are
if you have a house
here,
at risk,
just go for it. Oh, wait a minute. It's not a bad thing. Asking my parents questions and they both answer. I see. Fine. Well, let's just say, him and I have worked together since we met. People laugh because they can't imagine a married couple that wants to work together without killing each other. And we prefer it because we bounce stuff off each other all day long, every day. It's been great. Joel,
Did we answer your question, Wayne?
Yes. Yeah, you got it.
All right. Joel said he has a pretty in-depth question, and I don't want to pass him up. Mr. Joel, who made 1,000 today. Woo!
Let's go.
So, where's that question, buddy? I don't see it.
Buried. We'll get to Joel. I'll catch his question. Buried asked a question that I think will be good to answer. Talk about how many years you can claim a loss on a business before they shut it down or shut you down.
Well,
they expect you to claim they don't expect you to make a profit for at least, the first 3 years. If you make a profit, they're like, whoa, good for you. It kind of depends on, it looks at the economy, it looks at your life, it's all kinds of things.
It all depends on the business, okay?
Yes.
And here's the deal. Is it a real business or is it a hobby? And that's what they're going to look at. And if it's a real business, it has its own checking account, its own
bank
account, it's got its own everything, and you're really trying to make a business out of it. And your losses may be because of depreciation or whatever. But as long as you can prove the business model, in other words, if you're just out here selling jewelry that you make at home and you lose $5,000 on every year, after about 3 years, they're going to come after you and say that's a hobby, not a business.
Right.
But if you have all the other things in place, you have an LLC, if you have a bank account, these are the big things. You have the bank account and the business name, and
Here's what I want to. Queen, what is that? I can't. Oh, Queen something. I know she's on here. I'm sorry. I know Queen. I see you on here a lot, but I don't have my glasses on. I have my contacts in. I can't read it up.
I got Joel's question. Let me throw Joel's at you, and then I'll grab hers afterwards.
Go ahead.
Joel's whole question, it's a couple lines, so let me read it really quick. If I do my photography and make money with that, would I have to file that separately somehow, or would any of my income outside my full-time be my brand, and I just file that all together because I do multiple side type things?
No.
All right. So he's doing photography. He's doing reselling, things like that, besides his W-2 job. So he's asking, is that his brand, and he can do all those under the same LLC?
He can do an LLC as long as he has it
under his name.
Well, it's got to be. In other words, you can't be selling cattle over here on a farm. Well, I'm doing the extreme here, but you can't be selling cattle over here on a farm and then doing I don't know, promotional products over here on the other side. They would be two separate businesses. But if he's doing photography and he's doing a whole raft of things that are related.
You have to take pictures of his items for sale.
Well, I'm just saying, I think he could do it all under one.
Yeah, I can't imagine that it's so far apart that it wouldn't be legitimate, especially if everything is under your own name, Joel.
Yeah, you're
fine.
All right, Queen's question. If my husband set up an LLC for us for his investments, is there a way we can use it for reselling too?
It depends on how he set up the LLC, to be honest with you.
Yeah. First off, I'm not sure why you do an LLC for investments, but okay, never mind. That's
a different.
It's a sole proprietary. LLCs are sole proprietary. In other words, it's just his name. Mm-hmm. Now, if they did an LLC in his name and her name, then it's a partnership, and a partnership is a separate tax return completely.
It's not. Yeah.
Then they got to do a separate tax return, and then they do K1s that they then take the K. No, I know, but then they take the K1s into their personal tax return.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, if you're going to do an LLC, if you decide to put yours and your husband's name on it,
I don't think they can do both of those in the same LLC.
Yeah. To answer Queen, I don't think those things go together. So it's probably not going to be a joint venture for the LLC. But on the other hand,
it could be. I mean, it depends on how you.
So what you want to do is set up your LLC as your business name with one of you, because it creates a big hassle if you put yours and your spouse's name, because then it becomes a partnership. It's a whole new ball game when it comes to your taxes.
And again, we don't know everything, okay? But again, you can do an LLC.
Yeah, we do.
You can do an LLC. You can do no, you can't do an LLC. You can do things with your spouse that are jointly, but some things you can't.
Mm-hmm. This would be a perfect situation where this person should call Carolann and explain their situations.
Yes.
And then they could answer it way easier, because there's a lot of
because then we can research that particular situation.
Right. You can't give a blanket answer for a lot of things. So that's why I'm constantly putting my number out there or saying message me, because I can't just give a blanket answer unless I know your entire situation.
100%. Yep. I got another good question in the chat. Hiring family as assistants. Talk about some best practices when it comes to that for taxes.
Okay. Depends on if you want to hire them as an employee and pay them on a W-2, where you have to do employment taxes and workers' comp and all that stuff. Well, again, that's another one where you're going to want to ask me for your specific situation. But then there's also doing it on a 1099 NEC, which means non-employee compensation, where they can actually deduct expenses from that. Now, there's no taxes taken out of it, so they will pay. They are then considered self-employed.
But that child has to file a tax return when you do that.
It's not a child.
Well, relative, whatever. They have to file a tax return.
Yes, they do. They have to file a tax return as a self-employed person. And then they all the deductions that you folks can take for being self-employed apply to them.
But if it's their child,
if it's your
child and they do it on W-2 wages, then you have to file quarterly. But then you have to file quarterly tax returns on the child, unless the child makes more than $4,500. They wouldn't have to file a tax return.
Yeah, the child doesn't have to file, but
they would have to pay half of the Social Security and unemployment for that state.
So let's just say 1099 is probably the best way to go, because it's the easiest for all of you and probably the most economical for all of you.
There you go. Barry has a good point in the chat. You keep saying that you have your personal phone. Is that a Google Voice number, or is that actually your personal phone number?
That's my personal phone. Okay. That's my cell phone number. Yeah. And I prefer that you text me, because if I'm with a client or I'm on the phone with somebody and you're trying to call me, I'm not going to get it. So text me either with your question or say, this is so-and-so from TikTok. I need to talk to you, and I can call you back, or I'll set up a time to call you back. But that is my personal number. So text me, leave me a message, and then I will get back to you. And you can ask anybody out there who's done it on TikTok. I always get back to them.
Yeah, we don't use Google Voice.
We don't use Google Voice. That's crap.
Yeah. That's what he was saying. Like, obviously when you start climbing and you start getting a lot of followers, you might want to reconsider a Google Voice number, because it's literally it goes right to your phone like a normal number does, but they don't have your actual phone number.
Yeah,
so I don't care if I don't like it. I can block them.
Yeah,
gotcha. Okay.
I want people to be able to get to me. I really do. I want you to be able to get to me, because.
But he's got a good point.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the same exact. It's literally they just go through your other phone number, so they don't have your actual phone number. So that way, if you get somebody that's being weird, obviously you don't have your regular number attached to it. You have a separate attached to it.
It's fine. You can. I'll figure it out if I need to. But I will tell you this: I've had a couple on TikTok that I had to block them because they got a little friendly.
There you go. See, the number is in your bio, right? Because people are asking for your number.
If you go out to the videos and look at the comments, I've left the number out there. Okay, get a pen ready. I'm going to tell you right now. 615-207-4525. Text message. If I don't know your number, I'm not going to answer the phone, and I'm probably busy. Look, there's somebody sending me a note. But
Barry said you can't give out your phone number on live, but we're set to 18 plus. I think she's good.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
think anybody's
I
gonna
ain't a hooker,
report her.
Barry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
There's another question in the chat. I don't know how much this would apply to everybody in the chat, but obviously later on, I think I'm going to start doing real estate and stuff like that. So maybe this will apply to some people, maybe it won't. But I have a question that says, I have an LLC for my short-term rental. Can I add my eBay store? I'm assuming to the LLC is what they're asking.
No.
Totally different.
Because the rental is a Schedule E, and the reseller store is a Schedule C.
Schedule C, two different tax situations.
So you really can't do that.
There you go.
Sorry.
If you guys have any last minute questions, feel free to drop in the chat. We'll stay around for another 10 minutes. I don't want to keep you two on live all night long, but we'll definitely.
We don't care. We're having fun.
Yeah.
So Wayne, is there a way that now are you recording this so that later I can see the chat and maybe contact people? Or
so I think next time what we'll do is I'll record my screen. I didn't do it this time. This live, and I'm planning to probably put it to YouTube because I've had like 20 people in the chat ask for it at this point. So I will put on YouTube. The only issue with that is the chat doesn't download with it. So next time we do this, I'll make sure I start a screen record before I start the live. So then I can just move this straight to YouTube with the chat and everything. Because following along with the chat is like key. You can see like what questions are being asked. And
it's impossible when I'm trying to, focus on this. Oh, look at that.
That was sent to you by Surf's Up.
Brad.
It's too late to become an LLC.
No.
It's Wayne's. Let Wayne.
Yes, dear. He loves you, Wayne. So now I forgot what I was going to say.
Let Wayne ask the next question.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You guys can read the question for the chat. It doesn't bother me.
It says, is it too late in the year to become an LLC? You can do it anytime. And when you file your taxes, that goes on the Schedule C as because whatever your status is on December 31st is what goes on your tax return. So do it anytime.
And I would always, if I do an LLC, I'd always do an EIN number.
Make sure you ask for the EIN.
You don't have to.
But you want to.
You want to.
It's a good thing to have.
Blended had a good question. How do we keep track of damaged out items?
Keep a record of it. You just track that as well as, it's a loss item, or when you have your spreadsheet. I know not everybody uses that spreadsheet, but whatever your tracking method is, when you have that in there where you marked it for sale, also then indicate it was damaged, I had to dispose of it or whatever, and that cost is still an expense.
Another good question that I get a lot. If you travel to purchase items to resell, what exactly can you write off, including food, including stay at hotels, a couple things that you can write off, and name the stipulations too, because I know there's some stipulations to that as well.
This one's mine, okay? Oh, wow, look at that.
Got a burger.
I love burgers and fries. Yummy. Okay. Thank you. I think that was Jason. So
it was.
What I tell people is this. If you are traveling, yes, I know that you're going to be thrifting and sourcing wherever you go because that's what you do. But 99%, thank you, 99% of the time, there is another purpose for that trip. Okay, so holy crap. Sorry, don't distract me. Eat that.
I can't, it's already gone.
Okay. So additional mileage. Now, what I just told someone just a couple days ago, they go visit a parent, and the entire time they're there, they stay with her dad, but yet they're thrifting, sourcing the whole time they're there. He goes with him. He loves it. And I said, well, a portion of that trip is to visit family and a portion of it is business. So what?
Holy cow.
I love it. Thank you.
I have a feeling, by the way, Carolann, if you do your own lives, you're going to get a ton of gifts. I just have a weird feeling about this, that you're just going to get flooded with gifts, the way you react to them.
I love it. I just love it. I mean, I see you guys get them all the time, and I'm like, that's so cool. But you know what? It's okay. I'm just a happy person. So where was I? Okay. So what I said to her was I would take half of the mileage. You know, if you're driving a significant mileage, take and it's personal, it's business, and you're spending at least half what?
If they're going there for business and the side trip having to be the parents is all after.
Okay, we're going to chat about that when this is over, but it depends. I have a mustache, for God's sake.
There's a llama.
I love it. See, you shouldn't have done this with me for my first live ever because
No, this is the best. This is one of my favorite
stuff.
lives I've ever done.
Let me give mine.
Look at everybody in the chat going off right now.
I have a short
So we have to go in depth about the purpose of your trip, how much is business, how much is personal, blah, blah, blah. My response is that same thing with other things. Jason, stop. I love you, Jason, but stop it. Whatever percentage of that trip, if it's 50% business, 50% personal, what are you doing? Oh, fine. Listen to him.
Now, the short answer to that is, in order to write off meals, it has to be overnight. Okay, you can't go on a day trip and write off.
I wasn't talking about meals.
I'm answering his question. If you go on a day trip and you buy breakfast and you buy lunch and you buy dinner, but you come home that night, none of those meals are expensed. But if you go overnight, then your meals are expensed. Your hotel is expensed. And if you happen to visit your parents while you're there, if your primary purpose is to go to buy stuff for your resale, then the business is deductible.
So basically, it depends on how much you actually like your parents. You can say like, I don't really like them that much. I just went there to go. I just basically went there just to hang out with them for a little bit.
Right. I mean, but the real, I mean, and we did this in business. I mean, I was in business for years before I did this. And as long as our business trip was, if I went to San Francisco for a meeting and I happened to go visit my cousins, that was just a side trip.
Yeah, you were already there for the business.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Well, kind of.
Can I write off my bidet? Well, if it's oh my god.
So Barry, that's a good question actually. So Barry actually makes content about bidets. It's like one of his biggest videos.
Absolutely. So, and if he makes money off those videos, then yes, he can. And I just want you to know, Jason, that I am moving in about a month or so, and I would really love to have a bidet for my new home.
Wait, where are you moving to? Are you moving far?
We're moving up to Davenport. It's just close to Disney and closer to Ayla and Bobby.
Oh, okay, cool. So you're still like within hour and a half drive.
Oh yeah,
Do you have a pool? Are you moving there?
You just go straight across 4 rather than go down across the Skyway.
Yeah, we need to get together before we do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you going to have a pool at your new place?
Yes. We have lots of pools.
Actually, as long as you have a pool, we're good.
6 pools. 6 pools.
Yeah, we'll still have to set that up. We're going on vacation this weekend coming up, but we'll have to set up where we bring the kids over. We all go swimming and hang out and grill out.
Someone's obsessed with me. Thank you, Ashley. I love it. Get to know me a little bit. Well, talk to my kids and we'll ask them how they feel about it. I'm out of money now. Jason, I have to tell you, is looks and behavior the exact doppelganger of my baby brother. And so when I first saw his videos, I wasn't a big fan, but I have grown to. So.
Oh, Jason's hilarious. He's funny. After this live, by the way, he's going to be doing fridge tours like he normally does. So
if you haven't
caught one of his lives, it's hilarious because now he's just getting random people to do fridge tours. They don't even expect it.
No, night before last, he got me, and everybody's like, you've never been on a live before. You're supposed to go on live with K-Way. I said, I didn't know what it was. They just said, do it. And I hit accept. I didn't know.
Yeah, no, you're good. Everybody's like, Barry. I had somebody else message me and say, Carolann's live with Barry. She's supposed to go live with you first. I'm like, it's not a competition. She can go live with whoever she
Listen,
wants.
this is what I want to say. You, Wayne, have been my biggest supporter since day one, except for my children, of course, my daughter and son-in-law, who got me started with this.
Notice how I got excluded from that.
I'm talking about on here. Ignore him. You see this? This is gin and tonic. And this is bourbon. Anyway, you have been amazing to me. And I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Truly, don't make me cry.
Don't make me cry either.
You've always been so kind and so helpful and so supportive of me. And I can never thank you enough. And that's why I didn't have one of your, I felt so bad. I'm like, I don't have one of his shirts yet. And I remembered I had this. I said, I got to do this.
I'll send you one. I just let me know both your sizes. I got you. I'll send you both the shirts. It's a write-off. Remember, I'm just sending them to you.
Yes,
write off at the end of the year.
Oh, I got a tiny diny again.
Got a tiny dining.
I love those tiny dinies. Tiny.
Let me, I'm going to pull one more question real quick.
Okay.
And then we'll set this up. Obviously, as we get closer to tax season, I want to have you on like twice a month at least. So we can get a bunch, because obviously this time of year is not like tax season. Nobody really cares about taxes because we're not close. But as soon as we get close to it.
But people need to plan now. If you're not tracking stuff now, you're going to be screwed in the end. And you'll say, why didn't I listen to her? Listen, keep track now and listen now so that when it comes the end of the year, thank you for that. I know, I love it. It's all good. And, you know, whoever your tax person is, they're going to say, gee, I'm so glad you've been listening to that person. So I got a hot dog. A shell. Look at that. So thank you, everyone. And a microphone. Don't give me a microphone. Right. David, thank you for the big love. Thank you.
I don't really see I don't see any more questions. Nobody's really dropping everything. Everybody's just letting you know how much they appreciate you.
You know, watch the videos, please. Text me. I told people, if you know, I've had a couple of them say, will you go on live? I got a hat. Will you go on live with me? And I say yes, because the more people that I can help, the happier I am. So just let me know.
I'm seeing a bunch of repeat question stuff that Carolann's actually already answered previously in this live. So I will download this live. I'll put it up on YouTube so you guys can watch it afterwards. A lot of the questions I'm seeing are, you know, repeat questions about cars, about LLC, stuff like that we've already talked about. So I'll download it. It'll be up on YouTube later tonight, or actually it'll probably be up tomorrow morning because it'll take a little bit to upload. Yeah, I appreciate both of you being on. Of course, I appreciate both of you for everything you've done for me. I know you've given me my flowers, but you guys deserve it. I think a lot of people in the community are going to grow to love you too, because you guys are amazing on live. It's awesome. So definitely appreciate you guys.
We appreciate that so much. We thank you so much. And I mean, if you hadn't welcomed me like this, I wouldn't be here as much.
Yeah. I know there was a question out there about I keep bringing it up, but the Augusta.
Oh, Jason.
Well, but it's a valid question, and we have a valid response to it.
We're going to make a video about
that. And we're going to make
a
video about it, which will lead us into
S-Corp.
S-Corps.
Yeah, I'll teach you guys too about when you do your lives, when you get a lot of the same questions, I'll teach you guys how to download your lives, or Bobby or maybe Ayla can teach you. You can download your lives, and then your responses to the questions, you can literally put those out as videos. So you don't have to really, you know, film each one. You can literally just put them out answering the questions. So that'll be a little bit easier for you guys.
I didn't, you know, they don't do lives yet, but if you can help me with some of that stuff, I'd really appreciate it, so I can keep track of what people are saying and what they're asking, because I feel really bad that we've been on here all this time and I know there's a zillion comments. I wish I'd have been able to read them.
Yep. Do you have a plan on when you're going to do your own like specific live? Where you'll hop on? Do you have any plans for that or?
Well, I'm going to kind of look about. I know you go in the morning.
One thing I'll tell you is don't worry about a schedule. You obviously, you know, you don't want to. There's a lot of people that
everybody else's, you know, David and Chris and you and Jason. What?
But right now, I think we're probably more into just doing some videos. I'm not sure we're ready for the lives.
I think you guys are. I think you're good because you guys answer the questions very, very well, and you'll notice you'll get a lot of the same exact questions over and over again. It'll be easier for you to rattle off the answers.
Sure.
Amazing on lives.
And Jason, I'm sorry you're out of money, but just know that I'm worth it.
Jason's not out of money. He's a famous online influencer, is what he likes to call himself.
Online influencer.
Yes, the online says, I think he calls him, what is it, online sensation or something like that. So don't let him fool you. This guy makes a lot of money.
And I hope David's here. And Chris, have you seen Chris at Peak on here?
I don't think he's here. I think he's going on vacation here.
Oh, that's right. He was going to be gone for a week. Okay, and Jory was going to be here. I haven't seen Ayla and Bobby comment. Have you?
Yeah, they commented earlier. They're hiding right now. Yeah, they said nice things, I think.
I'll be calling them when this is over because I want to make sure it was nice.
But yeah, you guys should definitely plan a day, maybe a week or every couple weeks where you guys just hop on for an hour and just answer questions. Again, don't worry about times. If you see me live, you're going to get a completely different audience, and you'll probably get people that aren't resellers hopping in your lives too that you can answer regular tax questions for. Because obviously, you know, it's not only resellers that need tax advice, it's everybody.
Exactly. We want to help everybody, but you guys are our family now. So just know that, I mean,
when you get big and famous, make sure you prioritize us resellers, okay?
That will never be a problem. That will never be a problem. And that's it. You guys are it. So thank you so much. We love you.
Well, I appreciate you guys hopping on. Like I said, I'll message you guys probably tomorrow. We'll set up another day, maybe in like a couple weeks or maybe in a month. We'll have you guys on to answer questions because I'm sure after this live we'll get a bunch. And like I said, if you guys want to rewatch this, I'm going to download it. I'll put it up to YouTube. It normally takes a couple hours for it to buffer, so it's probably not going to be till tomorrow morning. But a lot of the questions you guys are asking in the chat have already been answered. So make sure you rewatch that YouTube video. And again, appreciate you guys being on tonight. This was fun. I for gift. So now when you go on live, I'm going to send you the biggest gifts. So you just freak out the whole time.
Thank you, because I mean, I don't know. I just like it. To me, it means a lot that people would do that, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. You have 2.2K gifts coins right now. So you made like $11, I think that equates to.
I did? No,
You're
that's
rich.
on you, though.
We could do this for a living.
No, that's on you. That's your side.
We could do this for a living.
Exactly.
You know, that was just me, right?
It was you. He didn't have any reaction, so it had to be you.
This is the first time he's ever even looked at TikTok. So, but I told him, I said, we are a team.
She took me out of the picture.
I said, we're a package deal, and I want him to be on here with me because just like that, we disagree sometimes, but we work it out. We talk it through. We look things up. We figure it out. So
100%.
Yes.
100%. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys hopping on. And like I said, I'll download this right after, and I'll message you right after live, Carolann. She is in here. Okay. Don't acknowledge her, please.
I love Kat. I love Kat. And you be nice to your sister, Steven.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later. I appreciate you guys hanging
Thanks
out.
A lot.
We'll have to do this again.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love
Adios.
y'all.
Bye.